What's up, guys? Welcome to the Crypto Savvy channel. I'm Craig, and we're going to talk a little bit about the markets. We're going to talk about Bitcoin. Will this rally continue? We do have a roadmap we've been following. We're going to take a look at that. We're going to take a look at some timing on that. Also, stick around to the end of the video. We're going to go into the small time frames and take a look at what's going on. So we're going to take a look at all our resistance levels from the monthly to down to the 4 hour. And see what's going on with that. We've been talking about this for a long time. Things are still playing out beautifully. Let's get into it. But before we do, make sure you take a second out, scroll down, smash that little thumbs up, leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think of the video. Also share it if you would, and make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We will be doing daily market updates as usual. So let's take a look at the Dow Jones. So the Dow obviously got the little pump past the center of this falling channel. Now, if you look here, we're making lower highs in the price action and higher highs in the RSI. Now this gets invalidated if we break this 33,271. If we close the daily above that, that would invalidate this, and we could come up to this next level somewhere around the 34,000 range, which would be the top of this channel. Now, if this was to break and get support on the daily, then we could have one more run up and things could kind of look a little bullish, but we have a lot to look at. So let's get into it. Let's take a look at the DXY. DXY got a bounce perfectly off our 105 range and is rallying right now. Will it continue? That's the question here. It does look like we could be getting, let's take a look at this. So we could come up depending on if we stay above this and we keep support on this 105, then we could be looking to come up to retest this top trend line, which could be as high as, 112, depending on how long it takes, but anywhere from 110 to 112 to retest the top of this trend line. That's what I'm watching for here. As you can see, it is playing within this channel. Now, if it was to come back down and break this range, this bottom of this range, come back up, test it for resistance, we could be going all the way back down to 100. If this happens, that will be bullish for Bitcoin and the markets. But if we continue to rally up from here, that's extremely bearish on the markets. Let's take a look at our monthly. So our monthly, as you guys know, nothing has changed here unless we open and close the next monthly candle above this 24,560. As of right now, this 55 EMA is holding as major resistance. Now, I know everybody's getting extremely bullish. We're going to take a look at the bullish case too in a smaller time frame. But as of right now, unless we get above this 24.5 range, we've had this target forever. And if you look at the RSI, we are above the trend line here. Now, if we get a dump in the next few days, we close below this, that is very, very bad for Bitcoin. We'll take a look at that. Let's take a look at the weekly. So on the weekly chart, as you guys know, we've had these measured moves in here. Let me get this out here. So when we broke the trend up here on this trend line, we had this target of 25 or 24.5, which we hit. And then we come down to breaking this trend again, and we came all the way down to our target of 17.5. We got a bounce here. Now, what it looks to me like is we're getting a rising broadening wedge, which is another bear flag. And if we break this bottom trend line, and that's going to be, probably wouldn't see that till next week unless we get a dump this weekend. But if so, the price to watch is going to be around that $20,000 range. It's actually around 19, let's see. Let's say 20,000. It breaks at 20,000. We're most likely going to go test that 17.5, maybe get another bounce back up to the 21 area, and then down to our next target, which would be the target of this rising broadening wedge, and that would be somewhere around 14,000. Now, depending on what happens here, if we bounce here, we could come all the way back up into this area to test the bottom of this wedge. If we break this 14,000 range, we're looking at the next target being around that 7,200 range. Now, will that happen in a day? Possibly. It could possibly happen within a week, but most likely it's going to take a few weeks to possibly a few months. And we'll take a look at the bigger time frame right here. This is my Amazon to Bitcoin bubble comparison, right? So this was the .com bubble. You can see these yellow arrows I have in here. Let's take a look at when this peak was right here. This was right around July to August range when this peaked here. Look at this peak here, right in the August range. When did it bottom here before its major bounce, before starting the big rally? It was in August. We look here when it bottomed here. I didn't have the arrow there, but that was right around September to August, and we had this big rally. Now everybody was looking for the three tops, right? So if we look at the first top here, this one was extended a lot further than this little one here. But as you can see, this was sometime in January, December to January right here. When was this peak? This one was January. Then we look at our second peak right here. That was in April. When was this one? April. See that? This top, April. The third top, this one was in November. When was this one? December. So you can see the similarities. Even the timing is playing out on this. And then if we look at this bottom where we had right here, over here was in June. We had a little rally up and continued down for another bottom in July. And then we had a bigger rally. If we see something like that here, we could come down, make one more lower low, and maybe that would be that $14,000 range and come back up for another rally. But remember, guys, I've been trying to tell you, every time we have a rally in here, right? So we had this rally, everyone got bullish again. Up here, obviously, they were calling 100,000. We had this rally up to that 48 range. Everyone was extremely bullish. What did we do? We came back, made another low. Now we're getting another little rally here. What happened? We got a little rally here. Everyone got super bullish again. Guys, we're not breaking any highs here. This is bearish. This is a major bearish trend. This looks like a bubble pop to me. I still think that sometime towards the end of this year, maybe beginning of next year, we're going to have a low down here in that $7,500 range. I think that's going to be a false bottom. I've spoken about that. We will have a rally after that. Everyone will be screaming the bottoms in. And that's if this plays out. You know, I could be dead wrong about this, but it is playing out beautifully. So if this was to happen, the false bottom would be, like I said, maybe around that $7,000 to $8,000 range. Maybe get a rally up back to the 20,000 range. Possibly maybe only 16, 15. But either way, we'll be tracking this. Make sure you're subscribed. And if this does happen, I think, and I have not changed my view on this for over a year, I think the real true bottom will be in sometime in 2023, possibly middle or end of 2023. But again, that could change. We'll keep an eye on it. Another thing I want to point out, you can see this trend line here on the weekly. Once we broke out here, that was that false bottom. So if I move this over where you can see it, when we break this trend line, everyone's going to get really bullish again because we broke a long-term trend line, right? And then we come back down and retest, and it's actually lower than the breakout. That will be our true bottom if this plays out the way I believe it to be playing out. We're going to keep a close eye on this. As you can see, even the volume is looking the same on this VPVR over here. Man, just the similarities are crazy. Even if we look at the MACD here, let me get this over so you can see right here where we crossed. We stayed down here forever. That's where we are now. Most likely we're going to stay down in these ranges. Let's take a look at the daily. So this is the daily. As you guys know, we called the top here about a month ahead of time. You can go back and check my videos back from, I think it was March 26th, if you want to look at the exact video where I called the 64 top. And it was somewhere around, I don't remember, 57,000, and I was calling the top at 64. Then we drew this wave structure in, and you can watch all them videos. We called these exact. I did think we'd go lower. Either way, we got our bounce. I said, look for an ABC correction where everybody would be calling 100,000 again. Boom. We got it. Everyone was calling 100,000. Then we came down and we're broke. Now, this is where it gets important. We had this rising broadening wedge here. We take the measured move of that. That got us down to this, excuse me, 24.3 to 24.5 range, right? Which we hit. But remember, this stuff takes time. This was when we started calling that was back in November of 21, right? And it took about 6 or 7 months to hit that target. But I had said, once we hit this target, be extremely careful. We could get a bounce there. If we don't, that will become our new resistance. And that's exactly where we are today. So what happens if we start opening and closing dailies above this 24.3 to 24.5 range? Then we can get bullish. What would the next target most likely be? It would be up around this 32,000 range, possibly. But we're going to go into the smaller time frames and take a closer look at it. So, but anyways, now if we break down from this range, we are most likely going to test this 17.7, 17.5 range again, which was another one of our targets that got nailed. If this breaks, I've drawn this in. I had it drawn in over here, but it looks like we could have made a double top here. So let's take a look at that. What it would look like is something like this to get down to these lows. If we break that 17.5 again, I obviously have more bounce area targets in between here, which we'll look at in a smaller time frame. But on the daily, our next target is going to be 76. Like I said, that could take months. We could not. That would probably be towards the end of the year. You know, everybody's saying the 4-year cycle, the end of the year should be the bottom. Those that are still bearish, that didn't switch bullish because of this little pump, right? So if that's to happen, this will be the false bottom. You can take a look at the market cheat sheet and you'll notice it always has that bubble pop deal too. So I made a whole video on how bubbles pop last week or the week before. You can check that out also. I showed you Sony, Nintendo. It's just the way the markets work, guys. I really think that's what we're in here. So be careful, be cautious. A lot of these guys are just way too bullish. We are breaking back down right now as the time of making this video, the 55 EMA here. Like I said, if we get support, if we break through this 24.5 and get support there, then we'll be looking higher. But unless we do that, there's nothing bullish here. If you guys are interested in trading, check out Prime XBT. I have a link down below. Awesome exchange. They don't trade against you. You don't get the scammy wicks. You can trade regular markets, Forex, Bitcoin, altcoins, all kinds of stuff from one exchange. You can have multiple trades in, longs and shorts, so you can hedge. Definitely check them out. There's also a contest section. If you join the contest, you get free money to trade a fake account, kind of get used to the platform. You can also use my promo code SAVVY50. That'll get you 50% on top of whatever you deposit as a, or I'm sorry, no, that changed. It's up to a $7,000 bonus. SAVVY25 will get you 25% off your fees. So this is what I had drawn in here. I thought it was going to play out like this, but we still got another fake out up here. But if we zoom in, there was something we were looking at, was this falling broadening wedge. And the measured move of that gets you all the way up to about that 24.8. That is still a possibility. But as you can see, let's look at where we're at now. So unless we get back above this 23.8 range, right, that should remain major resistance. So anything but, as long as we're below this, I'm going to remain bearish here. Our next support here is the 13 EMA, which is around 23.3. If that breaks, then you got the 21 EMA around 23. If that breaks, then you got your 51 right around 22.5. And then get back down to the center of this channel, going to get you somewhere around 21.8. So a break below that, get resistance, much more downside to come. As of right now, sorry guys, shut that off. So anyways, anything below this 23.8 range, we're still going to remain bearish here. We get support on there, then we could go up to one more leg up. Now, where could that be? So here it is again. There's our resistance, which we cannot seem to get above. We take a measured move of the break here. That would get us back up to around that $28,000 range, which would be these lows over here. So that's the highest I see us going here, obviously, unless we get a wick. But that would be the bullish case if we do get up to that right here. Let me put it in there. So right there, around that $28,000 range, right? That would be our next major resistance. But as of right now, like I said, anything below this 24.5, we remain bearish. As you can see on the RSI here, we came up and tagged that resistance on the RSI. It is coming down now. Yeah, look at, as you can see, remember down here, I said a open and close below here was going to be bearish. If we move that, we still have alternate touches, right? We have a touch here, touch here. This did not quite touch. If we zoom in now, this here, we did not quite touch the top of the trend here. Actually, let me move this all right in here. Yeah, so we did not touch here, here, here. So we still have alternate touches on. We have touch here, touch on the bottom, touch on the top, touch on the bottom, and we touch the top again with this rally. So it's looking like we're headed down to at least touch the bottom here. So we could just range for a while before breaking, but either way, this still remains bearish to me. So if we look at this as a rising broadening wedge and we come up to retest this, I would look for that 25.2 to, depending on how long it takes. Once we break this and get support above this level, then we can be bullish for the next run up. And what would that get us to? Let's take a look. Where does that measure out to? That one measures out to around the 30,000 to 32. So, but again, guys, 24.5 is the area to watch. If we don't start opening and closing at least 4 hours above that, it's still looking bearish here. But here's another area we're going to watch closely. Either way, I am still just looking for shorts here. I'm not looking for anything bullish unless we break above these ranges. So let's look at it, rising broadening wedge. So if this was to break, let's say we break in the next couple days, maybe this weekend, let's take a measured move here. What would that get us down to? Remember, if we break that 20,000 range, around the 14.5. And then what you might see here is another push up. If you do, I would short the bottom of this. Now that's if this happens. But anyway, this is right here. This daily is what we want to watch here. Anything below this 24.5, we remain bearish. We start getting support on here, then like I said, we can look at coming up to this 200 EMA, but that would probably take a little bit of time, so it could get out down to that $28,000 to $30,000 level. So thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Smash those thumbs up, leave your comments, share the video, get it out there. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. You can also give me a follow on Twitter. It's at CryptoSavvy1. The link's down below. Use the link because there's a lot of scammers. And guys, beware of the scams in the comment section. There are tons of them. I will never ask you to follow me on WhatsApp or get a hold of me. I'll never ask you for any investment. Never tell you I'm going to give you a secret. None of that stuff in the comments. So be aware of that, guys. Report them if you see them. Thanks a lot, and I'm out of here.